Hey everybody, I realized that we had gotten pretty complicated with our alpha channel that we created in our package. So I just wanted to make a quick little video to walk you through that same process. I did post in week 4 the description of how this works, but I didn't give you a video. I think that might be helpful. So we're opening up that packaging die line. We're opening up the file, the PDF that has all those packages in them. As you can see, you get a little grid here. You can scroll through there, pick the one that you think is the best fit for your package, and then we're keeping it at 300 pixels per inch because we want high res. So it takes a minute and then it says go. I'm just going to crop my image down here. I don't need the other stuff. I don't need the page number. I'm just going to do the marching ants right there. Image crop. And then I'm going to grab my polygonal lasso tool because that lets me do a quick selection. I just hit Command D to deselect my package, and then I can go here and do, but I just gonna quickly do a rough one here. I presume that you will have done a more careful job on that. I clicked once too many times, so that's not gonna let me keep going. It's okay. That's kind of painful watching this happen, isn't it? Okay, there we go. Now I got a package. You notice that last thing I just double clicked and it said, oh, you must want to close off the selection. I'm going to feather that selection by a couple of pixels. There's no way that image is exactly crisp sharp right to the right every pixel. So I want to make sure my selection matches that level of focus. So I'm just going to go say 2 pixels. So now I've got a general feather on the whole thing of 2 pixels wide. But as you'll notice, parts of this photo are really sharp, like there, and then other parts of the photo are not so sharp, like back there. So we want a way to create a selection that is sharp here, not sharp back here. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to create a channel that will let us edit it, and then we can make that into our selection. So I'm going to say load or save selection right here. What that will do is create a new channel that is editable. So it says, what do you want to do? I want to put it here, channel, new, all good. Now if I go over here to this menu, I should have my channels open. I don't. Go to Window, Channels, and there they are. So RGB, red, green, blue, I get to see that. And then, hey presto, there's a new alpha channel down here, which if I turn it on, it says, I'm just going to show you what that selection looks like. If I turn off RGB, all I see now is that alpha 1 channel, and I can edit it. So what you notice is we want this top part to be blurry. So we could use the blur tool, the water drop here, right here, and give us a chance to kind of zoom in there a little bit. It's 143 pixels right here you see, and it's pretty soft. You can check the size and you can also check the hardness. That's about what I want it to be. So I can just kind of go in there and I'm holding down my mouse button and blur, 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 blur. If I'm not getting enough with that technique, I can just grab a bunch of my image here. I'm going to feather that selection a lot because I want that to be really soft. So I'm going to feather that by 100 pixels. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to my filter and say I want to blur that selection. Gaussian blur gives you lots of control, and a preview. So you can see if I feather that and say I want it to blur by 12 pixels, that's how blurry it's going to get in the back. That's a little bit much, but let's go somewhere down here in maybe the 5 area. So that's the level of blurriness. If I say OK there, again, Command D, deselect my selection, and now I can see I've got blurry up here, not so much down here. It gets sharper as it goes. Command 0 will show you the whole thing. So now I've got a selection that's blurry here, sharp here, and then I can go back and paint in my image. I'm going to turn that selection off, turn RGB back on, and then I'm going to go back. By the way, if you find yourself saying, I don't want that floating around, I can put channels back inside here with layers and paths back inside here with layers, and now they're all tucked together. So back to my layer 1. What I want to do is create a new layer because that's the one I'm going to color on. Layer 2, okay. And then that's the one where I want to use that new channel that we created. So I'm going to go back to select load selection and pick alpha 1. Don't you love that talk? Marching ants show up. But we know that those marching ants are based on that selection, that channel that we created back here on that alpha 1 channel. So now if I say I want to fill that with color, fill with color, let's pick a color that is, I don't know, flaming green, sure, and go for it. I'm going to leave this normal because I want to show you how to do that in the layer menu. So now I've got flaming green, sharp green right at the front, and blurry green way back here. Terrific. Deselect that. Now that layer, I want that to be a multiply layer. So I want it to basically multiply the green plus the gray that's underneath that. Then I think very quickly, I'll just show you, if you wanted to put type on that box, you could type a little section here that says this is the type that goes on the side. Select that. Avenir is a beautiful typeface, but I don't want it to be 48 point. I'll make that 10 point. And then I'll put a return right there. And you can see I've got my lettings turned way up. We're not going to mess with that right now because I'm trying to get this video short. Command T will give me controls over that. I can change the way that perspective looks to try and make that match. I can get that, you can put it really right on the edge and then say, okay, there's my line. I know that right there is an edge, and then I can get this edge right here. If that's not enough, if you say, well, that one looks right, it actually doesn't, does it? Let's try to make that a little bit better. That's going to be that control right there. Ding. That's better. This one looks okay. This one probably should be farther down. If I'm going to do more to it, I've got to rasterize the type layer. Rasterize type layer. Now Command T will give me all the toys I could possibly hope for. I can change that. I can move it around. I can make it backwards. It's rubber. So hopefully that does it for you. You got a really clear sense of how to do that last little thing with the channels and putting in your type. I hope that's helpful, and I will talk to you again soon.